This is RTP. This is RTP180.
Thank you for the applause. Shahnaz here, and I am super stoked and excited about talking to you about one of my favorite topics, fostering resilience. Resilience is the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties and setbacks, and when life knocks us down, we tend to stabilize if we are resilient humans. Resilience is something we can either increase or decrease based on our habits and choices in life, and there are several factors that impact resilience. Self-efficacy, goals and sense of meaning in life, relationships and social supports, exercise and emotional regulation, we've got some therapy dogs here for that, and our ability to manage stress. Stress is a part of our life. We will never actually live in an environment that is completely stress-free. In fact, some levels of arousal as a result of stress have been known to enhance our performance, and this is healthy stress. Our body may kick into a fight or flight response, and once the stressor has passed, we tend to self-regulate and come back to baseline. This is known as allostasis. Allostatic load happens when our body gets stuck in the stress reaction or the fight or flight state for extended periods of time when the situation is not necessarily life-threatening. When this happens, our body is activated and stuck in an on state for extended periods of time, and we think we're balancing ourselves because the fight-flight state makes us feel like we're doing something, but we're actually working too hard, and this can cause our body to wear down. The capacity to actually turn our bodies off is a huge factor in managing stress and fostering resilience. Resilient people monitor their allostatic load, engage in practices to mitigate stress by managing stress effectively, avoiding dysfunctional responses, and learning from past experiences to foster healthy habits. Let's see. I'm going to give you an example of an argument I might have with my partner. So let's say, for example, that argument creates a disruption in my life, throws me out of a state of balance and homeostasis, and my desire is to reintegrate. I could reintegrate in a dysfunctional manner by going out and drinking a lot and getting super drunk so I don't have to deal with that. Or I could reintegrate with a loss where I decide this relationship is wearing me out, I can't deal with it, I'm done, break it off, I'm gonna date you instead. I could reintegrate back into a state of homeostasis, going home, apologizing for acting like a jerk. We get back to our baseline functioning, but I haven't really grown or learned from that situation, so a similar encounter or difficulty might result in another argument, and I might end up in the same state of stress, or I could reintegrate resilience by learning from this experience, developing some skills, which might look like learning better communication skills, understanding the needs of the relationship, and negotiating those. How we deal with stress impacts our resilience. We've learned that not all situations warrant a fight or flight response, but we do accumulate allostatic load by getting stuck in that fight-flight state. When we reach the point where we've been stuck there for a while, our body starts to wear down and eventually collapses into our freeze state, which is a state of general emotional numbing or dissociative lethargy. I like to call it my Netflix haze, which can last sometimes days, and it's not really helpful. It's not a functional response to stress. It takes the body seconds to activate the fight-flight response, and about 30 minutes to neutralize all of that hormonal disruption back to baseline. The polyvagal theory posits that connecting with our social engagement system can effectively bypass the fight-flight response and mitigate stress. The ventral vagal complex, which is the system that regulates the social engagement mechanism, takes milliseconds to activate. Fight-flight seconds, social engagement milliseconds, we can train our bodies to utilize the social engagement system to actually bypass points where we don't need to activate a fight-flight response. By doing so, we can eliminate allostatic load that can cause us to collapse and shut down into a freeze state, thereby increasing our capacity for resilient responses. So what do social engagement responses look like? Connecting with support networks is one way. Our lifestyle, which includes diet and exercise, relationships, social supports, and all the different ways in which we engage with others. Prioritizing what really does deserve our emotional energy, focusing on one thing at a time so we're not overtaxing our resources and creating anxiety in that process. Learning to regulate our emotions effectively. Remember, even thinking about something, getting angry, becoming afraid can mitigate a fight-flight reaction. In closing, engaging in a daily practice that factors overall wellness is imperative to building resilience. I encourage folks to evaluate how they're functioning in the 8 dimensions of wellness, and these 8 dimensions include social, relational, career, spiritual, financial, physical, intellectual, and environment. And do a self-assessment to see if you're lacking or a little lagging behind in one of those areas, and work to improve and buffer that up. That's all I have for you today. I've got a few handouts and business cards that I will be leaving on those wooden tables, but thank you for your attention.